Welcome to our class and Introduction to Linguistics. Now our topic for today is about syntax. Syntax is understanding word order and parts of speech like the nouns, verbs, and adjectives. It helps students create clear sentences, supports grammar and sentence structure, and builds confidence in reading and writing. Sentence structures are the physical nature of sentences and how the elements are presented and arranged to form different sentence patterns.
Now, what is a part of speech? Each part of speech is a word class or category for words with a specific function, such that the words that belong in the category have the same syntactic function. This means that every part of speech is an indication of how the words function in meaning as well as syntactically or grammatically within a sentence. In the English language, each word is made up of individual letters with specific sounds. When the sounds and letters combine, words formed will have specific meanings, and depending on their form and position in a sentence, will have specific functions. Depending on their functions, the words will belong to different categories that we call parts of speech. The 8 parts of speech are noun, pronoun, verb, adjective, adverb, preposition, conjunction, and interjection. Some books identify 9 parts of speech instead of 8, with the 9th being articles and determiners. Some traditional grammars also distinguish articles as separate parts of speech, distinct from determiners, which would make a total of 10 parts of speech. An example of how a word can have different meanings and functions is the word run, which can operate as a noun or as a verb, depending on how it is used and where it appears in the sentence. Now let's take a look at the example of the word run as a verb. Many athletes run to exercise. The meaning of the word run here is to go fast by moving one's legs quickly. Another example of the word run but is used as a noun. She goes for a 10-mile run every day. The word run here means the act of running. A second example is she has a run in her stocking. The meaning of the word run here is a partial tear that extends into a line. The basic elements of a sentence are the subject and the predicate. The subject is always a noun, a pronoun, or a group of words acting as a noun or a noun phrase, and is what the entire sentence is about. The predicate, on the other hand, contains the verb that describes or tells us about the subject. Subjects and predicates can be either simple or compound. Now let us move on to the 2 kinds of objects. First is a direct object. This refers to the person or thing affected by the action of the verb. Next is the indirect object. This usually refers to the person to or for whom the action is done, the one who benefits from the action of the verb. Now let's take a look at the example of the 2 kinds of object. First is with the direct object. We have discussed in the previous slide that direct object refers to the person or thing that receives the action of the transitive verb and is usually follows after the transitive verb. So in this sentence, he gave her a ring. The ring here is the direct object. The next one is for the indirect object, which refers to the person to or for whom the action is done, or the one who benefits from the action of the verb. So in the example, he gave her a ring, the indirect object is her. Now you have noticed that we have mentioned here transitive verb. Well, we will learn more about it on the next slide. Now, there are two types of verbs, the transitive and the intransitive. The transitive verb has an object, while the intransitive verb does not have an object. A transitive verb has an object following it. The important thing to remember in identifying a transitive verb is that it begs the question, what? For example, throw is a transitive verb because an object necessarily needs to be added. What did the subject throw? An example for this is the sentence, she bakes bread. Here, the verb bakes is a transitive verb, and it has a direct object, which is the bread. Next is the intransitive verb, which does not have an object. A good example of a transitive object is sleep. There is no need to ask, sleep what? In fact, does not make sense. An example for this is the sentence, Ginger is dancing. Here, the verb dancing is an intransitive verb. Now let us discuss about linking verbs. Linking verbs, or LV, are non-action verbs that connect the subject of a sentence to another word, or the predicate in the same sentence, in order to describe or identify it. Linking verbs express a condition or a state of being and not an action. The word that the verb links can be a noun, a pronoun, or an adjective, as in, I am hungry. In this example, am is the linking verb, used to express a state of being hungry. Hungry is the noun predicate of the sentence to which the LV, or the linking verb, am, is linking the linking verb, as in the case of, she felt cold, where felt is functioning as an LV, and it can also, however, be an action word, as in the case of, she felt the soft pillow against her cheek. Another verb that we are going to tackle about is helping verbs. These are also called auxiliary verbs, and they help maintain the action verb in a sentence by adding detail, timing, and extensions or elaborations of the meaning of the main verb. Most of them cannot stand alone as verbs, since their function is to add meaning in terms of expectation, obligation, probability, potential, or necessity. And your former grammar teachers may have called them the modal verbs. A helping verb can be used to indicate tense in the sentence, setting the timing of the action verbs, whether in continuous or passive tense, or progressive and perfect tenses. For example, in the sentence, I'm acting as a surrogate. The main action verb here is acting, and the helping verb am is used with it to express an ongoing action in the progressive tense. Let's talk about another parts of speech, prepositions. Prepositions show temporal, spatial, and role relationships between a noun or pronoun in the sentence and other words in the sentence, and they appear at the beginning of a prepositional phrase with a preposition and its object. Now here are some of the examples of preposition. Let's take a look at the example of prepositions in a sentence. The first preposition is below. The books are stored below the wooden shelf. You can see here that the location of the books are under or below the wooden shelf. The second example is the word between. The park is located between the school and the library. Now the park here is located in the middle or between the school and the library. Another example is the word beyond. The mountains extend beyond the horizon. And that's all for the first lesson of syntax. We will see each other on the next video. Thank you so much for listening.